All right. This is Chris Woods, and he's going to try to answer some forum questions for us. One of them was, do you have any plans to rotate any PvE content out, like to preserve, rarity of things, make them more valuable, that sort of stuff, or just, to revamp dungeons or whatnot, just to remove them?
We definitely reserve the right to go back on the dungeon side and change things. We're not going to change the cards themselves. As far as like some sort of block rotation style for PvE, my current stance on that is I don't want to, because I don't like people. The problem with games is while a lot of TCGs say you can play with all your cards, it's not realistic to. There's not enough venues to play with all my cards. So I want to have a venue where it's like, no, really, just you can play with all your cards. So if we did a block system, we've talked about it, it would be special to dungeons or special to certain sets or something like that, but we would still have a plethora of options where it's just like, nope, anything goes. If you own it, you can bring it.
Okay, all right. Let's see, will there be independent health pools for raids, or is it going to vary raid to raid as far as like the team that's against it? Will they?
Everybody has their own health pool. It still maintains that rule. Okay. There are failure conditions outside of losing your health in all of the raids, of course, but eventually, if you take too much damage, you'll just die and be out. But the party doesn't lose; it's just you're knocked out, and they have to go on without you.
Right. In that situation, can you also direct like healing effects towards your?
We try
teammates?
to word our cards super carefully, and we obviously have a suite of PvE cards that are designed specifically to be. This is a good raid card for Mr. Cleric guy or something like that.
Great. Okay. Let's see. Do you have any plans for equipment to become like account bound or bound when you do use it or any of that? Like that's a common MMO trope is you get a great item, you equip it, you use it,
binds on equip or binds.
Right, yes. Like,
we have no plans for that currently.
Great, okay. Let's see. What about do you intend to modify like loot drops based on things that you've already gotten? Like you can only have one mercenary, for example, in the treasure chest. Do you plan on like a mercenary still being a valid role when you open a treasure chest, even though you already have that mercenary?
Right. Again, both these go back to the fact that we're a collectible thing,
right?
And I think it's real important when you're a collectible thing to not be collectible. So bind and equip is an anti-collectible,
sure.
And not letting you get multiple copies is anti-collectible because trading and marketplace is a real thing.
But mercenaries are not tradable. I mean, they're
right. No. Mercenaries specifically. Anything that is bound, anything that is basically something that you two of is useless.
Right.
No, I'll never give you two of something that's useless.
Okay. All right. And I think that actually, the last question was, how quickly do we get into a raid? When we start our PvE experience, like, do we have to defeat like many dungeons? Is there like a suite of dungeons? Like, is there like 5 dungeons you have to do, or is there just like specific dungeons that lead into a raid? I suppose
there are specific ones that lead into a raid, and we pace it. It is a raid every 5 dungeons is their current pacing, and so once you get through the tutorial, you unlock the tutorial raid, which is basically it's the learner raid. The loot drops are actually set on that one because we want to discourage people from grinding a tutorial raid.
Great.
So we give you everything you could possibly want once you beat it, and it's just like here's how raid works. And then after that, every about 5 dungeons. And that's 5 dungeons you could go to. You don't have to go to every dungeon. You only go to. I hope if you find something that's like this isn't interesting, you just leave and be like, "There's enough content out there."
Right.
So it's every 5 dungeons that we show you. We have a raid associated with that, and so you beat one of the dungeons to unlock that raid, and that's generally because I try to make sure that the loot drops are something that's important and kind of a clue. So the card you'll unlock from the dungeon, kind of a clue to what you're going to need to get or what you're going to get into when you go to the raid, and then we just have them short up like that. So, and then the raids are about as difficult as the level you were when you beat the dungeon. So.
Fantastic, awesome. Yeah, that is. I think that wraps it up really for everybody. So, really appreciate your time.
No worries at all. Thank you.